Anyway, after that, what has been new in PHP, and you can see Tom and I did not communicate when we talked about how to name this meetup. I went with 2025.1 because it is our first meetup.
That's why Sam goes involved, everyone.
Yeah. Tom went with 0.2 because we skipped 0.1. But anyway, moving on. So after our last meetup last year, PHP 8.4 was released like a couple of days later, which was exciting. So now we're starting to get new features for PHP 8.5, which I thought they would go straight to PHP 9. I thought they only went to 0.4, but apparently they make things up as they go along. So there's a few things that have been implemented for PHP 8.5, which I don't know when it's going to be released. I assume the end of the year, like usual. But you can now, or you will be able to put closures in constant expressions, like in a default property on your parameters there, which you never used to be able to do. So like previously you would have to like default that to null and then do like if null check in your body. But now you can just put a callable in your function parameter, which is cool. That also didn't initially, this happened over 2 RFCs. The first RFC was for this, and they specifically excluded using first class callables like this ... syntax here. They were like, no, we're not allowing that because it's hard and it's just syntactic sugar. And then someone else came along and was like, it's actually not that hard. So they implemented it in a second RFC. So you can also put, you can use your, what do you call it? I forgot what they call that now. The first class callable syntax, the spread operator thing. But you can, this is another place you can use callables like inside a
it's also
attribute as
syntax
well.
highlighting in that code block as well.
Yeah, slides.com doesn't support PHP attributes yet. We have someone who's turned up.
What's the most practical way that you'd use that? Maybe like with a date? Would you call like a date function in there? What do you find that you'd be most likely to use that for?
Usually I use attributes for like validating things.
No, not the attributes. I mean the
callable.
the defining the callable.
I would use it if I had some class which I would occasionally want to override the functionality of.
Yeah.
But I wanted a default functionality to exist normally, and I didn't want to end up in a situation where someone could pass through a null and have a null as trying to call a null.
Okay.
One of the examples in the RFC was like a user-land implementation of like array filter, where like the default of array filter, if you don't pass in like your callback, is it just filters out anything that's falsy or null, empty, and you can't implement that in user land by just like passing in a default callback. You have to do it in like the body of the thing. Like if the second parameter is not called, then like use is empty. But like it's all largely syntactic sugar. You can get around it. But it just means that you get a little bit of a nicer language to work with. Continuing previous trends, we're adding more array functions as well, which I don't know why. There's another trend of like doing userland implementations of things instead of like adding to like the underlying C implementation because it's more accessible for like every PHP developer to update and maintain. But alas, we've also added array first and array last, which previously in 8.4 we got array key first and array key last, but this second way is cumbersome to use. So we've also now got array first and array last, which I'm not mad about. It's easy, but it seems
Also, that example of it returning A still gets me the heebie-jeebies.
why.
A is like 1 indexed and B is 0 indexed.
Well, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why you need this, because like it's hard. You can't just go like get the 0th element.
So it's
because
key agnostic and pointer agnostic. It's
Yeah.
ignorant.
exactly.
It's ignorant.
And like previously you would use like, what is it, like end and reset to do that, but that messes with like the internal array pointer in PHP. So like if you iterate over it afterwards, it's all messed up. So this doesn't do that. So there's a benefit there. Also, who's ever got a fatal error in PHP and this is all the output you get in the logs? It's just like random error, good luck. This is like a shit example of a function that gives an error. I could probably come up with another one, but this was what was in the RFC. They've decided to add in back traces. So like like a big boy programming language, you can you can see the call stack of your fatal errors, which will be really nice. And like this is something that you get when you throw an exception and you're using like Symfony or Laravel, and they give you like the nice error page where you can like click into things and see what variables are. Now you get it with fatal errors as well. This one was one that I found interesting. You can mark the return value of a function as important, such that PHP will give you a warning if you don't use that. So like you've got this function here where you're like processing like a list of things and you return a result of like whether or not that processing succeeded for that item. You could just call bulk process, but you actually don't have any idea if it actually succeeded for all those items or not. So you get a warning saying, because of this little attribute up the top here saying like, don't discard my value, I'm important. So then you actually just have to like save it to a variable to make the warning go away.
And then if you don't use the variable, don't use the variable.
And don't use the variable, yeah, exactly.
Surely this belongs in like a static analysis tool or not in a language.
I don't know. And like static analysis already gives you that.
But then like Go enforces
Go doesn't.
like no unused import, I think, as well. Maybe. So like there's some stuff that people want to put in the language as opposed to analysis tools.
Yeah. But they only made it a warning, so you can largely just ignore it and turn off warnings anyway. They didn't make it a fatal error, which some people wanted to, but that would be a BC break. So I wouldn't be surprised if in like future major versions they like increased it, like they've been doing to other warnings and stuff recently as well. They added attributes onto constants, and another trend that's been going where like previous features they've added that specifically excluded different aspects of the language for various reasons, they like go back and revisit that thing, like attributes, for example. You weren't allowed to have them on constants. Now you can, unless you define your constants like this for some reason, which I don't know why you would. Just type the word const again. It's not a big deal and it's cleaner, but anyway. You're not allowed to do that because who knows which constant the attribute applies to, but you can put it on a constant now. Asymmetric visibility, which was a big one from 8.4, which again specifically excluded static properties because they thought it was hard and it turned out not to be hard. So now on a static property, you can have your asymmetric visibility. So it's public read, but private to set. So then if you do something like this, you can print out the class title, but you can't change the class title publicly. You have to do that from within inside a function in the class. I think there's another one of those. No, that's it. There's a couple of other things that are currently in voting, but I'll save those for next time. Did you want to talk about
it? No, there's a lot being talked about. I don't. This is why I come to these, so you can explain it to me.
I'm pretty sure pipe operators passed.
Pipe operators. Oh, when I looked today, it was in voting, or maybe I didn't get the update.
You mean the version 2 one?
Whichever one was asked.
Well,
pipe operators does look fun.
Hot take. I think it looks disgusting, and I actually love chaining stuff together, but it just looks like stacks of like tab it in, hit the pipe, and the arrow over, and doing that, and I've got to keep track of what the types are in each level because it might change the type as it reaches each one. It just feels a little bit messy. Hot take. Anybody? No.
The people who haven't
It's
been,
okay, all code is messy.
the people who don't just watch the RFCs, like myself and Nick, the pipe operator is like you can take the output of a function and you like pipe it similar to like a back command, like straight into the parameter.
The best was unreadable, but now PHP becomes
Real aspirations. Yeah.
That's copy bash, yeah.
Yeah. That last one, the last screen, the asymmetric, it's a mouthful. Everybody just calls that AVIS. So the slang in the channel was calling it AVIS.
I missed that. But I agree. Asymmetric visibility is a mouthful. I haven't got a chance to use that yet. I don't think I've upgraded to 8.4 yet, so that's unfortunate.
Also, how much code do you really?
Ooh,
That's savage. That is savage.
nah, it's good. You guys are really kicking it, aren't you?
We're working on it. Yeah.
Team keeps growing. You keep building, winning awards. You're not just giving yourselves the awards, right? You're actually there's other places that give you the awards.
Yes.
We create the award.
Oh,
We get the first dibs on it.
no, yeah. I'm seeing all the feed. Says it looks like you guys are doing great.
It is going well.
And as a segue, I see Emily all the time in my feed. So welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Long time lurker.
Thank you.